Are you looking to grow revenues, increase profitability, or obtain financing? If so, you came to the right place.
Running a business is all about leadership. How do you become a better leader? Learn from the successful entrepreneurs and business owners how to lead your organization more effectively. That's why we created Leadership Live at 8:05, Talking Small Business, to help you succeed with your host, Andrew Frazier, Business Growth Pro and CFO and founder of the Small Business Pro University. Every Tuesday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern, we're joined by experienced entrepreneurs and business owners who share their secrets to success via live stream. Also, every Friday morning, we release a new podcast episode. Either way, you will learn about developing your business leadership skills from our roster of highly performing guest experts. Leadership Live is one of the many valuable resources provided through the Small Business Pro University, empowering business owners to learn, profit, and grow. Find out more at sbpro.u.com.
Good evening and welcome to Leadership Live at 8:05, Talking Small Business. I'm your host, Andrew Frazier. Excited to be here with you once again on Tuesday evening. Each week we have a tremendous guest and really focus on helping you become a better leader of your business. At the end of the day, the key to being successful in business is being a good leader. And so that's why our show is Leadership Live. 8:05 Talking Small Business, and we're really just talking about things as a business owner that can help you lead your business more successfully. We've got great guests who have expertise and experience, and guests who have actually done what they're talking about or can currently do what they talk about, and have an expertise and really bring something to the table, not just information but knowledge and wisdom. Tonight, I'm excited about our topic, and it's really important to begin with the end in mind. So as a business owner going into business, you want to think about what is your succession plan going to be? Are you going to make it a family business? Or are you going to try and sell it? And plan for that. You can't just up and want to sell your business one day. It takes time, it takes a plan, it takes effort. And tonight we're going to be talking to someone who has done it successfully. Most businesses never get sold and they just shut down. So, as a result, owners have spent so many years working on their business and at the end of the day, just have to close it down is disappointing, especially when that didn't need to be the case. So our guest today, Gene Sower, he's actually sold his business successfully. So, and not only that, it was one of the best things he's done. He's had a great experience. The majority of business owners who sell actually end up regretting it or regretting how things came together or what happened afterwards. So, Gene's a great example. I think we can learn a lot from him. So let me bring Gene on. Hey, Gene, how are you doing today?
Hey, Andrew. Good evening. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for joining me this evening. Definitely looking forward to chatting with you about your experience. Not many people have sold their business successfully. So definitely we want to get some of your secret sauce and learn a little bit about kind of how you were able to do it and what were some of the key, key things that had to happen. And key things that anybody should know if they want to sell their business to make it easier and faster. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Okay, excellent. So before we get started, be good for people to know a little bit about you. So why don't you take a few minutes to talk a little bit about your journey? So, you're here now, you sold your business, but, what happened before that and how did you get to the point of selling? And then we'll chat about your experience there. Sound good?
Yes.
Okay.
So my background is really in public relations, video production, public relations. I used to work for a company in New York that had major Fortune 50 companies, the U.S. Postal Service, AstraZeneca, Pfizer, and we would do video PR with the goal of getting the client on the news and then being able to quantify that. So I was always very client focused. I worked at a PR agency. I was like, the third or fourth agency I'd worked on in my career, my 20-year PR career. And then, I always wanted to do my own thing. And I was sort of self-taught. I was, now this is going back to like, if you can imagine what it was like early 2000s, late 1990s, when the internet was sort of just coming on the scene, and it really was changing a lot of things. I mean, digital. We used to edit with videotape, and then digital editing was just was coming on. I remember when I left my company, Facebook was 6 years old, Google was like 4 or 5 years old, so things were really new. And so here I was the VP of my department at this firm in New York, and I was just very fascinated by the internet, and I started dabbling with it, and I wanted to do something. I taught myself HTML, and I was fooling around with building websites, and I wanted to focus on something for the website. And I thought, a Gene Sower website would be kind of boring. So I had a very cute, precocious dog at the time, Lucy. She was a Jack Russell Terrier. And what I did was I built a site called The Adventures of Lucy the Wonder Dog. And again, you have to almost put your 1990s hat on when now it's like no big deal. But I remember putting up pictures of my dog on the site and getting responses from people in Japan and Germany, all over the world. And I was like, wow, this is so cool. So anyway, I built up this community of dog lovers, and then I started to monetize the traffic by selling into it. And I started selling dog treats and dog toys and things like that. And before you know it, and again, I'm working a full-time job. I have a newborn at home. I'm married, but I'm doing this on the side. I started an e-commerce business in the late 90s called Lucy the Wonder Dog. And I started selling health and wellness products for dogs. And I'll never forget going into Chase, my bank at the time, and trying to get an e-commerce account so that I could accept credit cards on the internet. And they were like, get out of here. They were like, selling on the internet? Like, that's not, that's a scam. So, but I eventually did, was able to do that. And I actually built that business up, and I sold that. I sold Lucy the Wonder Dog because really the next logical step for me at that point was to actually open up a retail store, which I had no interest in doing. So I quit my 6-figure job and I started Samson Media. And because I started doing, I was meeting people at networking events, and they were like, can you do a newsletter for me? So here I'm making like $250, $300 for doing a newsletter instead of making $8 on a bag of dog treats. So I started thinking, you know what, there's something here. So long story short, I took the plunge. I quit my job, my 6-figure VP job, and started Samson Media with a couple of clients, and basically, kind of rode that internet wave as it started to grow. And Google became a big force, search engine optimization became a big force, and these are all things that kind of fueled the growth of my digital agency, not least of which was building websites.
Okay, excellent. So, you've had a little bit of a journey, and sort of seen how, basically the online business has evolved over the years.
Yeah, I was there from the beginning, and I have to say, the one thing I look back on, I started the business in 2006, and I've often said this over the years. The one regret I had was that I didn't do it sooner.
Okay.
Yeah,
definitely. The most times the entrepreneurial journey, once you realize what it is and, how you're able to really create value and, um, you know, really fulfill your mission, definitely you wish you did it sooner. Same here. But, sometimes you need a journey so that you can be ready to do it the way you need to.
Yeah, it's an evolution. It's not like you go from 0 to 60. It was a progression, and you start proving things to yourself. It's like, hey, this is a viable business. I think I can really make a go of this. And then at some point, you just have to plunge in with 2 feet and you know no holes barred and just go for it. Which is what I did.
Okay,
It was
excellent.
scary. I mean, you can imagine. I'm a homeowner, I'm a husband, I'm a father, and I'm quitting my job. The one good thing that I have to say, I was kind of blessed with, that not everybody has this advantage. But my wife had great health insurance, so I've been on her health insurance, for all of these years. So that was really kind of an enabler for me, I have to say.
Yeah, no, I mean, definitely that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Same for me. I don't think that I would have been able to do what I'm doing now if that wasn't the case.
Right.
So it's important to sort of make sure you have your bases covered before you
Yep.
go up on your own. So excellent. So I can't wait to really dig into the experience selling your business. But before we do that, we run this show through the Small Business Pro University. So it's good to sort of know what the Small Business Pro University is. So we're going to take a minute to learn a little bit about that. I'll be back talking small business with Gene Sower.
Do you own your business, or does it own you? Is your business growing, and are you making enough money? As a business owner, there are so many things you need to know to become more successful. Hello, my name is Andrew Frazier, the Business Growth Pro and CFO. I created the Small Business Pro University for you. Small Business Pro University has self-paced, dynamic, multimedia learning experiences created by more than 20 instructors who are business owners just like you. Small Business Pro University will empower you to become a masterpreneur by learning the secrets to creating a successful enterprise, to go from working in your business to working on your business. Take advantage of our strategic coaching program, or just simply choose the courses that you need. At www.sbprou.com, we will empower you to thrive and not just survive, and make more money in any business environment.
Okay. All right. Welcome back to Leadership Live, talking small business. I'm here with Gene Sower, and we're going to talk a little bit about successfully selling your business. So, Gene, you sold your business a couple years ago now, and but you're still working for your business.
Yes.
So, so that's definitely an interesting situation. But I think that turned out to be a great situation for you. So now, did one day you just up and say, "Hey, let me just sell my business," or how did it come about that you decided, I need to sell my business, and sort of what were some of the first steps that you took?
Well, it was definitely something I hadn't really been thinking about, and I was going to some networking, and I was going to some peer advisory groups, and a lot of the other business owners were talking about selling their business. But I had a digital agency with about 5 to 7 all freelance people, all domestic. All of them were in New Jersey, actually, except for 2. One was in South Carolina, and one was in Texas. But they were all, American. I wasn't like outsourcing to India or anything like that. They were all 1099, and many of them had been with me for 9, 10 years at the time. And it came up a lot in conversations about selling the business. And I'm thinking, who's going to buy my business? It's basically a client list. But what I did learn is that I have a process. And most importantly, I was also, I had a provable and documented string of profitability. So we made money every year, and I was able to document that and prove it. So it came up in conversation, and somebody said, you could sell your business. I'm like, I don't know, who's going to buy my business? I don't have any, I don't have a store. I don't have any equipment. I don't have any patents. And what we do, building websites and doing digital marketing, social media, there's nothing proprietary about that. But I was introduced to a broker, and I had an initial conversation, and it was very encouraging. And I was like, I started to think about it, and I talked about it with my wife, and I talked about it with some close friends of mine. And I thought, let's give it a try. And here's the thing, what I do caution people is that don't do it if you're not serious about doing it. You're going to waste a lot of people's time if you think, I'm going to see it about selling it and then say, second thought, I'm not going to do it. But I mean, you can always change your mind. But as I embarked on the journey, the broker was able to bring a lot of interested parties to the table, and I was really blown away by the amount of interest in buying my company. And
Okay, well, before
I'll be happy to tell you about the types of buyers that there are. It really depends.
okay, well, before you do that,
Yeah.
let's go back and talk about a couple of things that you had mentioned.
Okay.
I think that are valuable. You talked about being serious as a business owner wanting to sell your business. One thing that I found is actually when I was starting out, my goal really wasn't to be a business coach, consultant, and trainer. I was actually trying to buy a business, and it's extremely difficult for a seller and a buyer to come to terms and the financing come together and everything happen. So, many times the seller will back out. Many times the seller wants more money than the business may be worth. So, I think that just navigating that and just, making sure that you go into the process in the right framework and with the right perspective is key. So, I think that you had mentioned you used a broker. Give a little more perspective on how he prepared you before you started talking to potential business owners and, some of the things that you had to do to be sellable.
Well, one of the first things we did, and I think the thing that got me all excited about it, was when I shared my bookkeeping and my tax returns with him, and we came up with a number, and I was like, "Wow, okay, if we can get this number," it was sort of an offer I couldn't refuse. I didn't, I thought, all right, this is kind of real. These are real numbers, and this would be worth it for me. So, based on him helping me, put together, pricing the business, it was the number that kind of enticed me. And then, slowly what we started doing was he put the word out. He helped me package the business up. There's a lot of things you have to do. I've created. Actually, now I'm working with my broker to send him leads. And he's helped me, and I learned so much from the whole process about how to sort of package up your business. You have to be able to document your processes. You have to, in addition to the finances, you have to also document, what each employee does. You have to document what you do yourself, your day-to-day. Because as I alluded to at the beginning, there's like different kinds of buyers. Some buyers want to buy your company just for the revenue, to absorb your client base, get rid of you, get rid of your staff, and basically just absorb the client amount. Some people want to keep the founder on for a limited amount of time, and maybe the staff or have their staff take over the work. There's all different kinds of combinations. And some people, some do it strictly as a business investment. They're looking to grow so that if you're getting 3 times earnings, let's say, or 3 times profits, let's say, the A plus B equals C. So they're able to, by buying your revenue and adding it to their revenue, they're able to sell their agency for even a higher multiple. So a lot of the buyers were interested in that. Sort of growing through acquisition with the eye towards selling it. There's a lot of business owners, people out there, and venture capitalists that look to buy other businesses with the purpose of really just building it up, packaging them together. 2-3 businesses together. Rises the tide of all of them, and then they're even able to sell that for even a larger amount. So, luckily, the person I connected with, and he was the second person. I had a couple out in Colorado that were looking to buy it, and I actually turned them down after mulling it around. I didn't think they were a good fit for my clients. But this person who bought the company, bought Samson Media, he's kept me on now. He also kept all my people, and in fact, my 1099 people, he's even made some of them staff. So, and I knew that going in, that he was going to keep people, because part of also, the process is, when do you tell your employees that you're selling? You don't want to freak people out unnecessarily. So there's a question of timing, when do you tell them, that kind of thing. And also, when do you tell the clients? So it's funny, because I really, even to this day, I kind of said to a lot of the clients that I've taken on a partner, because nothing has really changed and I'm still here. Again, that's my situation. And then all the people that had worked for me, they're still with us. So it really was a win-win situation. And I don't know that everybody would get as lucky as I did, but I really have to credit it with the broker helping me, package it up so that the expectations were set, and the person who did buy it got what they thought they were getting. So.
Okay. No, I mean, definitely that's key. So the stars aligned for you.
Yes.
But part of it was your preparation. I think one of the things you said was your financials were in order. You were already following a lot of business best practices. So,
yes.
And you had systems and processes.
Yes. And some owners, what they'll do is they'll just, like, if they make $1,000 in profit, they take all the profit, right? So what I was doing for years, and again, I just, stupid luck or intuition or just gut, whatever, I paid myself a salary. So that was also a helpful thing. I've talked to other people since, and they're like, whatever they make, they take. So that it's a little harder to sort of document, a steady cash flow.
Okay. So yeah, definitely, having that documentation, having the financial documentation is key, because most businesses I run into, their financial management is substandard. And a lot of times their financial knowledge of how the business works is substandard. So, as a business owner, if you're going to sell, you really need to understand that stuff.
And that was probably my least favorite part of the business. I mean, I like the making the money part, but keeping track of it and all that. So, years ago, probably about 5 years in, I got a bookkeeper, which was the best money I ever spent. And I had an accountant, which actually he was horrible in the end. I actually, he got fired because of this whole process, for his lack of help. But the broker, I can't tell you how much the broker helped me in terms of packaging things up.
Okay. No, and sometimes you need a special expertise, especially if it's something that you don't normally do. I run into that a lot of times with financing. I help a lot of people get financing, but a lot of times after they've tried to do it. And
well, yeah, it's true. Also, just in terms of my business, just how sort of how much it was in demand, it was also eligible for an SBA loan because, again, of the documented earnings. So my broker had, put it out to he has an SBA guy, and he was able to say, yeah. So my business qualified. So if a buyer was coming to the table, they would only have to put down, I don't know, whatever it was, 10, 15%, and then get the SBA loan. And based on the numbers, I guess they calculate that they'd want to pay the loan back based on the profits, within 3 years or something, right?
So yeah, I mean, definitely, um, eligibility for financing is huge.
Yes. It widens the
Because
pool of potential buyers, right?
right,
Yeah.
it widens the pool.
Yep.
Many businesses, they don't have their tax return showing that they're profitable or very profitable,
Yes,
and
exactly.
as a result, it can't get financed. And like you said, it significantly reduces the pool of buyers, from a standpoint of getting financing, but also significantly reduces the price that you can charge, because if you don't get finance, if they can't get financing, then they're putting up more equity capital, which
Yes.
is riskier. So they're going to want a higher return on that. So that's going to make the price lower. So, definitely that was a huge plus. And also, if the SBA will finance it, that says something for your business, because many
Exactly.
businesses aren't in a position for that.
As it turned out, the guy who bought my business, he was, believe it or not, overqualified for the SBA loan and wound up paying all cash. So that's a happy problem that
Right,
I
right.
had.
Okay. So yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, you're definitely everything aligned, but it wouldn't have happened if you know success is usually when opportunity meets preparation,
Yes.
and you were prepared, for when the buyer came, and that's an important piece of it. Generally, if you're thinking about selling your business, you probably want to start working on that 2 to 4 years before you want to actually have it sold.
Yeah. Once I made the decision I was going to sell, I started in January of that year and I sold it in September. So it took 9 months of that whole process, between going through the dance with the various interested people. There was a lot of tire kickers and things like that. And again, there was somebody in June of that year that actually met my number, made me the offer, but I backed out. I gave, again, the broker said, like, don't jerk them around, don't lead them on, and don't sign. I had a letter of intent. Don't sign anything. So I gave it a weekend, which I thought was fair, and I came back and I said, no, I don't think it's a fit. So, and then we started up again, and started right up again with we were doing 3 to 5 interested potential buyers a week, which is good. Yeah.
Okay. So no, that's great. And one thing that says also is, you weren't under the gun to sell it.
True.
And negotiating, you don't want to be in a position where they know you have to sell.
That's
Because,
exactly right. And the broker kept saying to me too, he goes, don't let your foot off the gas. Keep keep the pedal to the metal, and just as if you're not going to sell, and just keep earning, because again, it's almost the numbers at the end that matter the most. They want to see, like, the last 3 months, 6 months, 12 months going in. So you want to finish strong.
and yep, and growth is multiplied in the valuation. So the more growth you can see, the significantly higher your value.
Exactly. They don't want to see you on a downward trajectory. They want to see you on an upward one.
Yeah, and one of the things that is counterintuitive, but usually, like, the best time to sell your business is when it's doing the best. But that's when you want to keep your business, because you're having fun. So it's sort of when you really when you have to sell your business, that's usually the worst time to try and sell it.
Well, it's funny because I think I stopped having fun, and that was also part of the equation for me.
Okay. Okay.
To be very honest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. But you're having fun now.
I am much better. I'm not paying anybody anymore. All I'm doing is earning. I don't have any more bills. I'm not paying for hosting. I don't pay any of the people. No subscriptions. It's good.
Okay. So you can run the business the way you feel it needs to be run, but you don't have the headaches of things that you have to do as a business owner in addition to running the business. So.
Yeah, I mean, I have to do things like a little bit differently, and again, the way the new owner wants it. But it's like, you know what? Fine.
Yeah,
I'm fine with that.
Okay, great. So
Yeah.
no, definitely, we've got some great people on tonight. So just recognize Keller, Precious the Killer Pitch Masters on. We also have Dr. Michelle Scott. Victoria's here with us, and we got a question from Daryl. So let's take a look at Daryl's question.
Okay.
How did you protect yourself from taxes on the sale of your business?
Well, I paid a lot of taxes. I probably paid more taxes that year than Jeff Bezos did, honestly. You can only protect yourself so much, and then you have to really, you got to cut the government in for their share. So
Okay,
I had a better answer for you, but yeah, you got, I paid the taxes out of the sale price.
yeah, but you still made money,
Oh,
and
absolutely. Yep.
we still need roads and airports and other stuff. So you got to pay some taxes.
But I literally paid more than Jeff Bezos did.
Well, they need to
Literally
pay.
did.
They need to pay more.
They
but,
do. They do. They really
but,
do.
Yeah, but
Anyway.
if nobody pays taxes, then
Exactly.
then we're in terrible shape as well.
Now, to that person's question also too, because I think you and I have talked about this. Often people are so focused on taxes that they're looking to take all those deductions to lower the reportable profit amount. But here you have to kind of strike a balance. You don't want to lower it so much. You want to be able to show, enough profit. But that's why there's something called it's called the seller's discretionary earnings, the SDE, where basically if the business was showing a profit of $100,000, but you had, your salary gets added back, taxes get added back, things like that maybe the new owner wouldn't have to pay. So it increases the actual sales price.
Right, but that being said, your team needs to know that you're thinking about selling, so that you can have add backs, but your tax return is sort of the end all be all for people who may be financing.
Yes, this
so
is true.
You have to show income, and just keep in mind, when you're selling, you're going to have a multiple on your income. So that multiple may be anywhere from 2 to 5 times.
Yeah, I got 3.5. I got 3.5.
You got 3.5. So,
yeah,
every dollar of profit you had, the price you got $3.5 higher of a price. So, you make more money on the sale than you would have if you had, reduced your what you saved on the taxes. So exactly. It's a balancing equation, but at the end of the day, the value of business is going to be based on what you're showing as profits, and
yes.
The more profits you have, that just gets multiplied. So at 3.5 is a pretty good multiple.
That's what I thought. And that was one of the things that, really, pushed me over the top and said, let's do it,
Mm-hmm. So definitely. So now, your new business owner, they kept your employees and everybody. Would you have sold it if the new owner wasn't going to keep them? And, what were your thoughts on that, going into the process and throughout the process?
Well, I probably would have sold it either way, but I would have told them a lot sooner. See, I knew with this particular buyer, once we started doing the dance, that he was going to keep people. So there was really nothing to alarm them with. And there was even one guy that been with me a long time. I gave him a raise, right? Like when the early whispers of selling, I said, let me raise his rate a little so that he'll keep getting at least, what he was getting paid. So I actually increased his rate. And again, I knew that they were all going to stay on. So I waited until after the check cleared before I told them, because it really didn't affect them too much. and their jobs were secure and they're all still working. If I knew that they were going to be getting rid of them, I would have told them a lot sooner so that they could have made, some, preparations and gotten ready for it, because, that can be very disruptive. And I did care a lot about the guys who worked for me, so, I didn't want them to, suffer any hardship. But in my case, again, I knew they were going to be taken care of. They were taken care of, and it all worked out. Otherwise, I definitely would have told them a lot sooner so that they could have, gotten ready for it.
Okay, great. And one of the things, sometimes business owners are a little hesitant to sell because they're worried about their employees. But many times, if you have a successful sale to a larger organization or a better funded organization, it actually becomes a way better situation for your employees because they have greater opportunities and room to grow.
Well, that's exactly what happened. So they actually wound up, it was a win-win for everybody. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, excellent. So, one of the things for a successful business is growth, and unfortunately, many smaller businesses have low or no growth. But obviously, to be able to sell your business, you were growing. And what type of growth rate did you have, and what was the key to your growth?
Well, one of the keys to our growth, we were probably having about a 15 to 20% growth a year. It wasn't like through the roof, but it was steady, and it had been steady for 15 years. One of the main reasons, again, another very appealing aspect of my business, is that we had reoccurring revenue. So yes, we build websites, but really the nature of search engine optimization requires an ongoing monthly effort. It used to be years ago, I could do a one and done, optimization on a website and get you ranked in 2 to 3 weeks on the first page of Google. Those days are long gone. Now you need to do ongoing things, and that kind of lent itself. That was a major part of, I think, of our later success, and probably the last maybe 7-8 years is the nature of search engine optimization changed, that it required an ongoing effort. So I'm like, okay, well then if you want to be ranked, we have to do a monthly thing. So I created a couple of different programs where there were 3, 6, 12-month programs, packages. So we basically created, I like to call them products. So I made products out of our services. So it wasn't just doing your social media. We bundled social media with some blogging, with some SEO, maybe some pay-per-click advertising, whatever it took to drive traffic. So that became a whole other thing, where the websites almost was a larger ticket item, but it almost became secondary. So it was really the recurring revenue. And again, when I was putting the business together, that was something the broker really helped me with. I had to list what was the recurring revenue, like that was like probably 40% of our business, and 60% was the one-offs, the websites, which could be $3,000 to $5,000 a pop. So but they were consistent. We were constantly selling 5, 10, 15 websites a year, and then the ongoing SEO was the thing that really, I think, put us over the top. And then people found it very appealing because they're basically buying revenue.
Okay. So now, you stayed on afterwards. Was that your plan initially? And would the deal have happened if you didn't stay on?
Well, they would have to offer me a lot more money for me not to stay on, because I mean, how much is enough? I don't know. But I'm still young enough. I like to earn. I want to stay busy. I didn't really have a plan, like I was moving to Turkey or something. I wanted to stay around and still keep my hand in it, but I wanted less less aggravation, less of the day to day. So I wanted to. So I gave him, as part of the sale, and everybody, when you sell a business, you usually have to give part of yourself for at least 30 days. In my case, I gave 60 days of my time to help them transition. So I didn't get paid during the 60 days. That was part of the sale price, having me help them. But then we negotiated a totally separate deal. Again, this really has nothing to do with the sale, but in this case, he wanted me to stay on, and I wanted to stay on. And again, that came up in the initial conversations, that I wanted to stay on indefinitely. So I have a separate agreement now with him, where I get a commission on new business. I get an hourly rate, and again, I just really, I still deal with the clients. I still get, the clients still call me, whatever. But now we have a different model where we kind of hand stuff off. We have a project manager who kind of takes a lot of the day-to-day off my head, so I could just focus on bringing in new business.
Okay. And previous to the sale, were you the only one bringing in new business, or did you have other people bringing in new business?
Yeah, I was pretty much it. Over the 15 years, I've had 3 different salespeople, but nothing ever really worked out. And I tried different people and different methods, but it was really all me. So I was really the salesperson anyway.
Okay. No, I think definitely a lot of business owners run into that situation.
Yeah, I always felt, and it was true, I always felt nobody could sell my stuff better than I could.
Right. You're usually going to be your best salesperson.
Yeah,
But also, a lot of times people aren't prepared when they bring in the salesperson, and they're already set up for failure before they come in. Generally, most salespeople aren't good marketers. So if the business doesn't have a marketing and a sales process or system that the salesperson can come into, generally it's going to be extremely difficult for them to be successful.
Yes.
And so, figuring out how to do that before you bring in a salesperson is important, but it's not easy. So many times you may need to bring someone in the interim, on the marketing side.
Yes.
Figure out your, real marketing strategy, marketing plan, have the tools, have leads so that a salesperson can be successful. And also, salespeople generally work together and compete. So if you only have one salesperson, it's harder for them to be successful. However, fortunately, you stayed on, but many times a buyer, if you're not going to stay, then you need to have someone in the business still able to generate the revenues and grow the revenues.
Right. But, if being a digital agency, I was bought by another agency, they would have the expertise. In fact, that was part of the interesting reason. The first set of buyers, I took that couple from Colorado, the woman owned an e-commerce cosmetic, an online, selling online cosmetics. So they weren't really client-oriented, client-focused, which is a whole different thing. They were out, they were selling online themselves. So they had those skills, but, it was really, it's really servicing the client. It's a client-based business. And again, going back to my PR roots, it was all about that. The client's the star of the show,
And product businesses is a little bit different.
Yeah.
So, and then also B2C versus B2B.
Exactly.
Whole different world. So just because someone's successful in selling to customers doesn't mean that they would be good at selling to companies.
True. I mean, my number one way of really drumming up business has really been networking, especially before the pandemic. I mean, something I enjoyed, enthusiastic, it was, you enthusiastic about the product, about the services. So I really enjoyed that part of it. And I think I even told you the other day when we got together, that was like one of the first times since the pandemic that I've been like out, like elbow to elbow with people in a restaurant, which I definitely need to do that more. And I enjoy that. And, and I feel better about doing that now. The pandemic has subsided; it's more in the background, so it's less of an issue.
Okay. And, definitely you've gained a lot of experience for selling your business. You've also gained a lot of experience in your industry. And one thing that you're starting to do is advise business owners in your industry that might be interested in selling or growing and bringing what you learned to the table with the specific industry focus. Talk a little bit about that and sort of your approach to being able to help people follow a similar path to what you followed.
Well, as I kind of explained in the beginning, when I explored selling my business, it was a real revelation about how interested people were in buying an agency. So a lot of the people I know a lot of people in my same industry, and I've always been friends with my competitors. So I know a lot of people in the digital agency space, and the broker I work with, he has generously offered me a commission on his commission. So it's actually I learned so much from him. I have to tell you, the thing was like an MBA experience for me, learning about how to do this. And I know so many other so many other agency owners that are around my age, their 50s and 60s, that probably have no idea that what they're sitting on is a sellable asset. So I want to be able to, enlighten them to it and basically, help them think about it. Because also, like you said at the very beginning, you can't just wake up one day and say, "Oh, I'm going to sell my business." You have to sort of lay the groundwork. So that's one of the wake up calls I want to impart on other business owners. So I've now created another business, doing it simultaneously, called flowerofthelily.com, and it's a consulting business where I'm offering information as a free report. I guess you call it a report or an ebook or a guide or whatever that talks about a lot of things that we've been talking about tonight. It's sort of a checklist of the things you need to know in advance to sort of set yourself up so that you could sell your business later. Whether it's a year, 2 years, 3 years. I had to give 3 years of they averaged my 3 years of tax returns, and you could do it in a year or less, but again, depending on how you've been doing things all along, you may need 3 years to correct maybe some of the things you're not doing correctly, and sort of correct how you're reporting income and stuff like that, so that you set yourself up so that you get a good sell price at the end.
Okay, definitely. So, we covered a lot. I think we got a little bit of time left. One thing I like to do is, before we wrap up, have guests, share the top 3 things that business owners should take away from this. Generally we talk about a lot of stuff, but it's nice to sort of just have 3 things to focus on.
I like that.
When we leave out, so that people can either get started tonight if they're night owls, or even tomorrow, thinking about planning, using some things that they may have learned from our talk this evening. So take a minute to sort of think about what you want people to take away, and I'm just going to show a quick video. For the past 11 years now, I've been doing Power Breakfast events for entrepreneurs and business owners, and been a great experience. We've helped a lot of business owners get tens of millions of dollars in financing. We've helped people generate revenues in the millions and tens of millions, and we've had over the years 1,500 people or more attend these events.
Nice.
So, definitely a great networking opportunity. Our next one, we took the summer off, so our next one's going to be October, November. So, if you're in the New Jersey, New York area, you're welcome to join us. We've also had people come from as far as Pittsburgh and DC to participate. So we'll be getting out a date for that. But I'm here, Leadership Live at 8:05, talking small business here with Gene Sower. We're really just talking a little bit about selling your business. Gene was able to do it successfully. He's helping others to do that as well. And we covered a whole bunch of valuable information and knowledge. But, as always, you can't remember everything. But if there's three things you take away from what we said, Gene wants to share those with you now.
So I think you want to definitely plan ahead in terms of making sure that your books are in order. You definitely want to consider the impact it's going to have on your life, on your finances, and your family. And I would think the third thing is you really, well, maybe it's part of the second thing. You want to think about what the impact is going to be on your employees. And the third thing is, I think you need to think about what you're going to do afterwards, because a lot of, times, you may be bored. You may, a lot of people, they may want to sell the business because they have an illness, or there's some, thing in their lives that's, a divorce or something like that. But if it's all good, you have to think about, what's going to be your next chapter. And that's why I think, I'm going to be able to still work for my old company in a sales capacity, but also start working, as a consultant to help other agency owners, sell their business as well. So.
Okay, great. So getting things in order, very important, and you can start that today. So that's key. Understand the impact on yourself and others. Definitely it's going to impact other people. So really trying to figure out what that is and trying to manage it as best as possible is key. And then, what are you going to do afterwards? Many times as a business owner, your business is your life.
Especially as an entrepreneur, right?
Right. Because, a lot of your network is business related.
A lot of your self-identity, is tied up in your business.
Self-identity. So, are you prepared for that? And, definitely it's important to understand that. Actually, I was working with a client and we were working on getting them financing. The banker was like, well, how long do you plan to stay with the business? He's like, they're going to have to take me out in a box. But fortunately, his son worked there too. So there was a succession plan. But sometimes your business really becomes your life. You're so used to doing it that you can't see yourself doing anything different, and it's something that you really enjoy. So really understanding what type of afterwards you want to have, what the impact is. So no, those are great points. I think this is valuable conversation. Definitely good feedback. Hey, what's up, Jack? Actually, Jack and I did a session for NJMEP today, and we talked about a little bit about whether your business is sellable, and figuring out how much it might be worth. Hey, Victoria. So no, this has been great. Anything you want to leave us with?
I would just encourage you, if you're interested in sort of a checklist to see if this is something that you want to embark on, because it's really a journey. I would just encourage you to visit my site, Flower of the Lily, that's with 1L.com. And I have like I said, a report there, and we talk about, the timing of your exit, when to tell your employees, how to deal with financing, knowing, when to sell, when to sign the letters of agreements, the type of paperwork you need. And I would also say this, let me actually leave you with this thought. Have a good team. It's really good to have an accountant or bookkeeper that you can rely on, And a broker is a great idea, and you're gonna need an attorney. You should totally have an attorney. I had an attorney who was a client of mine actually, so he worked for me, I worked for him. Really good guy. Helped me, go over the contracts, and he actually helped money in escrow and all that kind of thing. So have a good team with you, and make sure that you have buy-in from your family. Okay.
Okay. Yep. Definitely the family part, and a good, not just good team, an experienced team. This isn't something you want
Yes.
to leave up to people who aren't experienced in it.
Exactly. It sort of was my mantra to other people. They're telling us how to build a website. It's like, look, you hired us, let us do our job. I hire you, I let you do your job.
So, okay, great. Well, this has been tremendous. So thanks again, Gene, for hanging out. If you can hang out for a few minutes,
Sure.
and let me just close things out. So, once again, excited to have had a great session today. Definitely feel free to reach out to Gene via LinkedIn or his website. As always, we, come on, do the show every week, Tuesday night at 8 p.m. But also, if you happen to miss the show or you're doing the recording, it's still available on LinkedIn. It's still available on YouTube. It's available on Facebook as well, because we go live on all three. And actually, a fourth channel where we go live is in the metaverse. We're in STEM City, USA. So each week also we're in the metaverse. So catch us wherever it's convenient, and look forward to seeing you next time. Next week, our guest is Phil Woolfolk, and he's going to talk about how to stop leaving money on the table. Looking forward to that next week. And, the more that you know, the faster your business will grow.
Thank you for listening to Leadership Live at 8:05, Talking Small Business. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and to the podcast on your favorite podcast platform. Leadership Live is one of the many valuable resources provided through the Small Business Pro University, empowering business owners to learn, profit, and grow. Find out more at sbpro.u.com.